Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Scholars Table. In today's episode, we have a very versatile international student who is currently in the US for her master's in global health at Duke University. Um, she's a medical doctor from Kenya who it's quite popular in the social media space. She's Forbes Africa 30 under 30, class of 2022. She was Miss President Kiambu County. She's currently doing a master's, so it's. I wanted her to come on and share her experience and the journey to graduate school from Kenya, share with us some tips and strategies that she used and how she's currently coping with a switch in academic experience and also cultural experience. So let's enjoy this conversation together. Hopefully, you will learn something that would also increase your chances of getting very good offers for your graduate school. So let's welcome Dr. Ruguru Kimani. We have a special guest with us. Dr. Kimani, how are you doing? Welcome to the
Okay.
Scholars Table.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Banda.
Yeah, so as I was saying, occasionally I have students, international students in particular, join me on the Scholars Table to discuss their journey, and how they are coping with the US educational system. And I felt that you'd be an important resource for most international students, especially prospective international students, given that, you've gone through the process. You are now in your second year of your master's program. So you'll be a good fit. So welcome to the Scholars Table. We are excited for this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I think it's the first time you're having someone from Kenya, right?
Second time. So I don't know if you know Anita. That's one Anita that I interviewed. She's currently at Oxford. She's also doing her masters at Oxford University. We spoke in one of my episodes, but that was last year. Yeah, so yeah, you'll be like the second Kenyan on my podcast, so I'm excited about it. Um, yeah, so I want us to start by looking at your own journey, even before you thought of graduate school. Um, can you tell us, a little bit about your background for those who don't know you? Um, Tell us what you've been doing, your background in Kenya, prior to graduate school.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm a medical doctor by training. So I joined med school, did the whole 6 years, started with preclinical studies, that's biochemistry, physiology, then went to clinical studies, that's obstetrics, gynecology, surgery, and finished school in December 2021, graduated the next year. But then in med school, I started a blog. And that is what led to me being listed in the Forbes 30 and the 30 Africa class of 2022, as Dr. Banda mentioned. So it's a blog about parenting and pediatrics. So I ran it from 2016 to, till now. So that
Mm-hmm.
was something that I was cool. Yeah. And then right after med school, it took 8 months to get posted to my clinical internship. So I was online and I saw this advertisement, and Kenya was having a reality TV show called
Mm-hmm.
Miss President on leadership. And I tried it out and I got in. And I was Miss President Kiambu County. So I learned about leadership, government. It was a wonderful experience. So amongst all the things that I've done, in my academic and professional journey, those are things that have stood out till date. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned that you were medical school, and the way you're describing your medical school journey sounds very familiar, just like the Ghana system. How is your medical training like? So typically in Ghana, um, you start medical school, you do your preclinical coursework, as you said, pathology, biochemistry, anatomy, all those things for the first 2 3 years, and then you transition to clinical rotations, obstetrics, general surgery, internal medicine, pediatrics, and then sometimes the subspecialties, ophthalmology, ENT, all those things. Then after you finish, you wait for a little while, get posted to start your housemanship. So we call it housemanship. I don't know if it's the same in Kenya, or internship. So you do it for 2 years. You do rotations in the major fields, internal medicine for 6 months, general surgery for 6 months, pediatrics for 6 months, OBGYN for 6 months. Then afterwards, you become a medical officer. Others go into clinical residency and all that. How is the training in Kenya like?
No, the training in Kenya really mirrors that, the training in Ghana. Just to confirm, is medicine an undergraduate degree in Ghana also?
Yeah, it's still regarded as undergraduate degree. Yeah.
It's the same as Kenya. Same thing, you do your preclinicals first year to third year. Then in your fourth year, you do most of those major rotations, the obs-gyn, surgery. Then fifth year, you do the special clinics. That's ophthalmology, ENT, anesthesia. Then in your sixth year, for us it mirrors. It depends from school to school, but for us it mirrors the exact fourth year, major rotations.
Okay.
Then after that, you have to take a break as you wait for posting by the government, because the internship system in Kenya is run by the Ministry of Health. So it depends. The time can run. It can be 1 year to, like 1 year to 6 months to 8 months. So it's very unpredictable.
Okay.
Yeah. Then internship, after that you get your medical license. So I got my medical license 2 weeks before I came to Duke. So
Okay.
it was a pretty crunched up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, for some international students, they know exactly when they want to, you know, pick up their journey to graduate school, or to, something outside of their home country. Um, at what point did you think that you would probably be going into graduate school? What are some why the US? What are some of the factors that influence your decision to consider US instead of maybe Canada or the UK or Australia, whatever?
Okay, so for I think my exposure when still in medical school to extra things that were not very medically oriented gave me the curiosity to see how is it outside of clinical work. So how is it outside of the ward rounds, the rotations? How can what do I call this? Like how can the business world look like? How can the corporate world look like? So I knew very well before I made a commitment to join a residency program, I probably wanted to pursue something else that would help me see exactly what the other life looks like when you have a medical degree. So I knew very well that after medicine, I was going to definitely get into a slightly different a different path to get out of the clinical work a bit and see and make a decision. Do I want to stay in the ward, or do I want to stay in the office? Do I want to stay in the field? Yeah, so I knew from around fourth year, I started looking out for programs, and I knew exactly that I was going to do something different. Yeah. And then you asked about why I found the US attractive.
Yeah.
Um, so one, I was looking for some of the top schools in global health globally, and Duke stood out. So Duke stood out, and Duke ended up being in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wanted a different experience. I wanted to, learn in a fast-paced country. I sort of wanted to learn in one of the best institutions in the world, and it ended up being in the US. So this is how I ended up here.
Okay. All right. So it has nothing to do with um maybe family preference, or um career opportunities, job opportunities in global health, um, or maybe opportunities in clinical residency. I mean, it comes as a package. So anytime you're thinking about this, it's, you have to think about all those factors. So I mean, as you rightly said, US has some of the best institutions for public health or global health training. So that probably made a very good sense. I want us to go through the application process itself, because around this time, I know a lot of international students are applying, putting together their materials, and it can be very challenging if you don't know exactly what you have to do. So in your own journey, what was some of the challenging part of your graduate school application?
So one, I think I took a risk. I applied for one school and one school only.
Hmm.
Like I was very, I knew it was Duke or Duke. So I think the stakes were higher for me since I knew that I had to get in.
Mm-hmm.
I only wanted that one. So I would probably advise other students, if you're applying to other schools, don't be don't be like me. Apply for more schools and have more flexibility. So that was one for me. Like the demands are pretty high. Also writing of the personal statement, because I know it's one of the most difficult questions is to be asked to introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you want to do? What
Yeah.
motivates you?
Mm-hmm.
It's that, and then now when you're writing it to a certain standard for you to get, judged and to see if you can get into a program, it gets very difficult. So that was really, yeah, that was one. I think that was the hardest part. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, certainly, like the personal statement is by far one of the most important aspect of your application, if not the most important. And um, you just have to spend the time uh, writing it. It can change. There are times that you are even sleeping and you think about something that you have to add to your statement. So I can certainly understand how that particular step um, may be the most challenging, putting together your thoughts to tell a story that is quite different from your resume, because most often people just narrate what is on their resume chronologically and think that is their personal statement. So yeah, but applying to one school was a bold move. I mean, there are so many schools in the US, but and as you said, if you're applying to graduate school, um, just make sure that you are applying wide, because you may not be Miss President, or you may not be Forbes 30 under 30. So you have to assess yourself and apply wide to increase your chances. Um, so uh, in terms of putting together the materials itself, um, what approach did you use? For example, when you were writing your personal statement, were there any particular strategy you used, any structure, what approach did you use to make sure that you are getting the best for your personal statement?
Okay, so writing early and preparing early.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started months before, because you see, this like applying to graduate school was a premeditated move. Like I just didn't wake up at the end and then I was like, yeah, I
Exactly.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied early and I wrote multiple. So I first of all read a couple of options and examples. Then I wrote multiple. Okay, so yeah, I also wrote multiple times. I also had a couple of reviewers, and I made a lot of edits. A lot of edits and the persistence. I know it gets irritating when you think you've done your level best, then you're being asked to edit something. But I was focused on getting the level best, and I was patient. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you made a very good point. Um, People just wake up. I know someone who last year got in touch. It was like 15 days to the deadline of application submission. And the person says, I want to apply to graduate school. And I'm like, you just realized, you just got up and thought you could apply to graduate school within 15 days, that will certainly not give you the best shot. So you have to think again. So I told him to go back and prepare for the following academic cycle. Because I mean, as you said, it's a huge investment. And if you don't do the proper work, the results will show. Right, the results will show. So so okay, so that is for personal statement. Did you have to do a West evaluation for Duke? Is Duke on through the SOFAS application?
Sorry, is Duke on?
Is Duke University on the SOFAS platform, or did you have to do West evaluation for your transcript?
Oh, I did not have to do.
Okay, okay. So how did they? You send them you uploaded your transcript on their website directly.
So I uploaded my transcript to the website. Then they asked my school to send the transcripts to them.
Okay.
That's extra of the whole university. So you see, getting in touch with such people at times can get difficult, considering that it's a private school. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to apply early, then approach them earlier and tell them that they'll be getting, that you'll be requiring them to send your documents to Duke, because that's a very busy office in a big public university. Then, when I came to Duke, they then had an independent organization ask for my medical degree from the university. So it's a three-tier system, but not West evaluation.
Okay. So you got to Duke first before they requested for your certificate to be evaluated.
So first I sent the ones during the application. Then then they asked the university to send to them when I was still in Kenya. Then now when I got here and we started classes, they then asked the independent organization to now evaluate my medical degree straight from the university.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a bit risky. So what if they find out that your your documents are not genuine at that point? What would they do? They will rescind their admission offer. Anyway, yeah. So uh, recommendation letters. What like how did you select your recommenders? What were some of the factors you considered in selecting your recommenders?
So the one thing I've told my mentees is you need to continuously invest in personal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Recommend very taxing. They're very difficult to write. So nobody is going to write for you just because you approached them 15 days to the 15 days to the date of the deadline of applying. So my recommenders are people who have known me professionally and academically for the whole of my medical school. So they've
Okay.
been my mentors. So they're my supervisors and my lecturers at school.
Okay. Okay. So you picked those who truly knew you through your training. There were no surprises. But did you consider their background? Did you consider whether you know they're a supervisor, but also they have maybe a background in public health or some form of research experience, or they were all purely clinical?
So I'm considering that I was now applying straight out of medical school.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have attachments to people in other fields.
Okay.
I feel like compared to somebody who's worked before in the field that they want to apply to, they probably have a lot more networks
Okay.
in that they want to apply. So my the people who recommended me were purely clinical, but with global health research
Okay.
experiences.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
health is a new field, right? Like it's slightly new. So people who studied a long time ago have not taken up the field as much as we have taken up now,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's uh sometimes people say global health is everybody can be a global health practitioner, right? As long as you understand the dynamics. But as you said, like the field on its own, it's not um is not as old as the field of public health in isolation, right? For international students, we all have some stories that we tell. We all have that shocking moment of our lives during a transition from Africa to, for example, a Western university. Uh, to you, what has been your biggest cultural or academic adjustments you had to make?
Okay, so the professors were surprisingly very available to students. We have office hours. Like that shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of office hours, the concept of emailing a lecturer with a question and they respond quickly. That whole student, like it's very student oriented, and the system is like it's how do I say it? Like it's made to favor you. It's made for your success. The level of learning is pretty high. The content is a bit slightly complex compared to what I've experienced before, but not compared to medical school. But I just mean
Yeah.
the quality of content is a bit high. But then like the whole system is based. It's made to support you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what excited.
I think that is the right word to describe it. Is very supportive. The academic environment, everybody's looking out for you to succeed, right? Nobody is trying to trick you. Nobody is trying to cause your downfall. You know, it's a positive atmosphere, and the faculty, it's very welcoming. So I mean, that is perhaps one of the common uh, shocks that every international student experiences. How nice faculty are towards their students. But so in Duke, what would you say is the international student presence like in terms of the global health, public health field? Um, I know, for example, Hopkins and Harvard and Emory. Uh, those are the common schools that I think most international students have heard of or like to apply to. But how is the size of the class, and what is the international students' presence at Duke like?
Okay, so my class is roughly 30 students, and the international student percentage is 50. It's 50% for our class.
Okay.
As second year, the first years it's at 55%.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Uh,
huge.
That's huge. In my class, I was the only Kenyan. Now we have five more Kenyans in the first year class.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay, that's good to know. But the class size is just 32.
Yes, it's roughly. I don't remember the number from the top of my head, but that's the average.
Oh, okay.
That's roughly that in my class.
Okay. So that is in the global health. Okay. But they have the traditional master of public health program, or it's
I might have to look. Just give me 1 second.
okay.
Duke.
Yeah, because I know, like, so Hopkins, for instance, they also um I mean the size. Okay, their MPH class is much bigger. Hopkins, um, uh, and most times international students, probably 40% of the class, 45% of the class. So it's around the same class size as international students percentage as Duke. Yeah, so that's good to know. And the fact that they don't require GRE, they don't require West evaluation or GRE, that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
So quick one. So there's a
yeah.
program called Epidemiology and Public Health Study Program. It's a
Okay.
dual degree program. So I think it's not very it's not very famous
Yeah.
because I did
Yeah.
that program, but I feel like what is larger is the Global Health Institute.
Okay.
So most
Yeah. Awesome. 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 Okay. So in the global health space or in the global health course, what has been some of your favorite courses or aspects of the program that you enjoy? I know I read that you were in Kenya for a field project. Was it part of the program? What aspect of the program has stood out to you so far?
Okay, so I think, yeah, going back to Kenya for the summer was lovely. And Duke actually offers a fully funded, like a fully sponsored summer project.
Mm-hmm.
So mentor from, from the first month of school, you guys work on a project together, and then you do it for summer. So like, since like when you get into school the first month, you know what your thesis will look like you have a rough idea, because
Okay.
you're going to do it. So it's all connected. It's all connected. For my favorite classes, biostatistics classes have become eye-opening. I
Mm-hmm.
can say that they become eye-opening. But my most favorite classes are the health systems in low middle income countries, because I've been able to understand, from the US perspective, like how do these people see our health systems back home. So that was an important class, and also trying to understand how should the ideal health systems look like.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to, how do ours at home look like, how should they be looking like. Yeah, so that class, and also the policy class, because as I said, I think I'm also eyeing the non-clinical aspect of my life, so the
Okay.
policy class.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that sounds exciting. I mean, biostatistics is always, an eye opener for a lot of international students, and the more you get to know it, the more you fall in love with it. Um, so, uh, I mean, after your MS program, mm, how is the future looking at? Or what are you thinking?
That's a good question. I think it's still two pronged for me. Like, it's still very, it could go either way, but
Mm-hmm.
I know I need one, and that question has also made me realize that I need to decide now. So I'm still looking at the the non-profit, or the big organizations, Bill and
Yeah.
Melinda Gates, UN, WHO, such things, Global Fund. I'm still looking at that to
Okay.
apply with Global, to just do some work there, some corporate work there. But aside of me, still feels like, maybe residency might be my thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like we'll never know. So I'll probably just take a gap here, and
Okay.
maybe decide, is it that side, is it this side. So let's say in a year I will actually have a proper decision. I'm taking my time, because I have to live, like, the decision I make, I'll have to live with it for the
Yeah.
rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Yeah.
maybe taking that and working will give me the exposure that I need, because I haven't worked in the corporate world. So until I work there, that's when I will know exactly
Yeah.
exactly, but like,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's good to explore, um, uh, and make the right decision. And as you've said, for international students, always you have to have a backup plan, right? So if your primary option is clinical, you still have to have another backup plan if clinical doesn't go like as you planned, or if something changes, what will be your next line of action. So yeah, so you can think of those two, clinical and then the non-clinical path, and then work towards each of it. um a gap year will certainly help you, especially like during your OPT. The
You can.
conversation has been exciting so far, but this is the most exciting part for me. I get to ask you questions and you get to answer as fast as possible. um so, okay, first question. Have you been to any other African country apart from Kenya?
I've been to Rwanda in 2013.
Okay. Any country in um have you been to Nigeria? Have you been to Ghana? Have you been to South
Just
Africa?
Rwanda.
Okay. So Kenya, Rwanda, US. Okay, okay. So what's your favorite Kenyan dish?
Ugali, pork choma, and kachumbari. So pork
Ugali.
choma is like, fried pork. Kachumbari is like onions and it's salsa with a lot of chili and
Hmm.
ugali.
Okay.
Yes,
I
ugali is
see.
like fufu. It's like it's a swallow. I know that's what people in Ghana and Nigeria call it. It's like swallow, but then
Uh
it's made.
oh, okay, okay, yeah. Then it may be like fufu or maybe like bankun or maybe like kinky. So I mean, we have a lot of swallows in Ghana. Um, yeah. So that probably maybe like fufu. So you know how Ghana they have like we have this battle for jollof. So that tells you that jollof is probably very famous. It's a famous dish in Ghana and in Nigeria. What is the equivalent dish in Kenya that you would say is also very famous, like the Ghana or the Nigeria jollof that a lot of people talk about?
Nyama choma. Nyama choma like barbecued meat. People talk about barbecued meat everywhere. And the barbecued meat in Kenya, Dr. Banda,
Is different.
it's different. It's the best meat you will ever have. Yeah, so for us, barbecued meat, like nyama choma is everything. Yes. Okay, I'm already salivating when I think about
Hmm.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. So, okay. So, even though you haven't been to Nigeria or to Ghana before, have you had opportunity to try any Ghanaian dish or Nigerian dish? Not yet.
No, no, I have my classmates who are from Ghana and Nigeria. So
Okay.
I've eaten some nice chicken. Like this nice chicken with this very hot sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
so I've eaten some really nice it's like hump of a cow. Like the way this is something. That meat was very good. And it
Hmm.
was very I like chewy meat.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
a bit of things from my classmates. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So, what's one thing you wish you had known before coming to the US?
I wish okay,
Mhm.
interesting. I wish I'd taken my time to just go through simple, simple things. For example, crossing the road using the crosswalk. Yeah, that one, especially that one. I should have learned that. Like I should have, those small things,
Yeah.
like where things, approximate cost of items. Because you see, when I came here during summer, I was preparing for winter, and you see, if you don't know the cost of things, you will never know. Should a winter coat be $300?
Yeah.
Will you get $100? Can you get one for $20? And I feel like until you check and know exactly where to shop, you will never know. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should have probably watched more YouTube videos on the nitty gritty details of Daram and where to get things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's certainly true. There are still some tricks and tips
Yes.
that I'm still figuring out. Um.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been here for 1 year. What do you enjoy doing in your free time apart from maybe watching bad statistics videos?
So I enjoy hanging out with my classmates. So we are a very diverse cohort, but we're also very tight knit.
Mm-hmm.
So we all up and we're always spending time together. So and we're always eating together.
Okay.
So we do thing, we do like potluck, and we're always trying out new spots. So at times we'll go with the girls, we'll go eat pancakes for breakfast and just talk. Yesterday we went to eat like plant-based eggs
Mm-hmm.
and so I think I enjoy spending time with my classmates a lot and trying out new eating joints. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is one aspect of graduate school that people don't often talk about. The idea, of graduate school is not only to acquire knowledge, right? If you want only the knowledge, you can do it online. You can go to YouTube and listen to videos. But the other aspect that you won't get is getting to know new people, getting to form good relationships that would last forever. So, I mean, those are part of the real experience. So if you're in graduate school, make sure that you're building connections, you're building the bonds, you're getting to know your classmates, and that is the only added value that you get. Um,
Can I add
so,
something else?
mhm,
I feel coming from medical school where all you do is your house, the ward, group discussion. House, ward, group discussion. Like I decided that I've spent a lot of my years studying. So this
mhm,
time around, I'm going to study in one of the best institutions in the world, but also live a little.
yes.
Just live life. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you have to enjoy the experience. Um, okay, so what is one place in the US that you would want to visit before graduating? Or so far, okay, so far, have you been outside of your state?
Um, no. I think last year I was very like I was I think I took a very slow pace to just learn my state, just and also how do I say just ground myself.
Okay,
Since coming to is not easy, but later this year I'm planning to go to Michigan to visit my brother. I'm also going to go to Atlanta to see a couple of relatives.
okay,
So to this year and next year, I'm definitely going to do a bit more of traveling into other states.
okay. Oh, okay, that's good. Um, I think somewhere was it early this year? Yeah, somewhere early this year, I took a road trip from Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta. That route was really long, and I think it was a good experience. Yeah, so you have to experience the countryside before you graduate. So I mean, you're in your final year. Any final words for prospective applicants from Africa? What should they look out for? What are some of the tips that you would like to share with them?
Um, I think coming to graduate school definitely gives you a different aspect of your field. So at times I probably thought I knew the health field very well, and I felt like if you just threw me into the field after med school, I was going to do very well. But then new aspects of this field were revealed to me by coming to graduate school.
Hmm.
And it's just not the education, it's also the like you become more polished. Like adults like this level of adult learning is different. So I think if you can have a master's degree, do it early enough, and if you're also planning to to climb the job market ladder, just get your credentials early. So I think I've just discovered that when I'm looking for a job, like you see when you're looking at the job market, you're doing a job search. Most jobs now are looking for a master's degree. It's not easy to get a very well-paying job that is just asking for an undergraduate degree. So I think if you can do it early, I would advise people to actually take up a master's degree and finesse in their individual fields.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a good advice. Get all your papers out of the way and start enjoying life. Yeah.
Yes,
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an exciting, uh, unscripted conversation. I wish you all the best in your journey. Um, I know, like along the line, we'll still get opportunity to talk further. So, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
thank you. Bye.